Remember, I told you guys about emotional regulation, that when it comes to emotional regulation, we have three things. We have process, understand, and express. And when somebody is stifled in the expression part, they become violent usually, or they become angry, which can lead to violent outbursts, either verbally or physically. Okay? I'll say it again. Process, understand, express. If you are shut down in the expression department, you're not allowed to say how you feel. You're not allowed to express how you feel. You tend to express through anger what you actually felt. And what happens is it becomes violent usually, either verbally or physically. So when you notice people got a very venomous mouth, right, that are trying to cut people down, usually it's because they've been stifled in their expression as a kid. Then they're trying to violently get people back, or they're very aggressive physically because they've been stifled usually in the area of expression and emotional regulation. They can't regulate themselves very well. Okay, all right, let's listen a bit more to what Keke said as well.
He was doing it on purpose, pretending there was nothing wrong when there obviously was. This was my first experience with emotional unavailability outside of my family. Emotional unavailability was my family dynamic.
Let's pause right there. What did she just say? Emotional unavailability was a part of what? Her family dynamic. It is something that she had experienced quite well in her family. And usually she mentioned the fact that her dad was alcoholic, but also because her mum too was also seemingly dismissing her as well, which I'll play some clips so you can get to that point as well. I want you to be able to hear it. I'm building the case. I want you to understand where also Keke's coming from. Because like I said earlier on, people don't just come to this place. Many people don't just walk into abusive relationships. You've been built to walk into one because of what you've experienced in your childhood and in your home where it's meant to be safe. And imagine if you've been living in dysfunction, then when you go into a place that has dysfunction, it's familiar to you, right? Many of us have that certain level of dysfunction. If you've gone into a place where you experience crazy behavior, you can go into the world numb and be like, when you see crazy behavior, it doesn't affect you because you've experienced craziness already. So, just another part with the Keke Palmer situation again.
Self-discipline was wearing on me. He wasn't consistent in his work. The real problem was he lacked certainty in himself. How funny the people in your life mirror your issues. One day, when we were living at his mom.
Now, I think I missed a part of the clip where she actually says that, she was so used to being in a space where she was building him up. So used to being in a space of trying to push him, trying to motivate him, trying to make him. And that's what I said about, remember I said this about Keke. I said the reason why she chose this man is because she likes to build projects. Keke is a build-a-bear boo because she has an ego and she likes control. Darius, like him, is abusive emotionally in aspects and thought to himself, maybe he had an opportunity, maybe that's the point. He shut off his insecurity when he wanted to shut her down in the way she dressed and the way she moved, knowing that she walked out the house that particular way, right? We know Darius has got issues. He's also insecure, right? And that makes him controlling. And now we've got two people that, due to their insecurities or their fears, are trying to control one another, right? But this is just giving a bit more of her background, okay? She likes to build bears, okay? Keke, your good favorite, likes to build bears. And when people build bears, they tend to have control.
As my resentment grew, my darkness started showing up. Old bad habits / defense mechanisms. Hashtag hurt people.
Okay, so this part is quite interesting, right? And I'm gonna show you I'm gonna show you what it is in the book. Okay, so this, just if you're tuning in, this is Keke Palmer's book from 2017, I Don't Belong, Quiet the Noise and Finding My Voice. Okay, so a book from 2017. Okay, so a book from 2017 that she wrote, and she's letting us know her background and her particular perspective. Just listen again to this.
Sometimes I went off on him just to get a rise out of him. I couldn't express my pain. And the fact that he couldn't see I was hurting caused me, I think, to subconsciously show him. And just like that, our relationship became physically and emotionally abusive. And mostly on my part.
Listen to what she just said. She said it got verbally and it got physically and emotionally abusive. And what did she say? He never hit her. This is not Darius. By the way, listen again. This isn't to do with Darius. This is to do with her past relationship. It is not to do with Darius on this one. We've already done that one already earlier on. This is to do with Keke Palmer and her past relationship with a guy called Joey. This was a previous one. Okay? Her previous relationship. Are we seeing a pattern here? Are we seeing a pattern here? Okay? Is it not the same thing I played in the very beginning where I said she said it was both of us doing emotional verbals, but when it got to physical, she's the only one doing it? Because if you just tell me he never hit you, then who's doing the physicality? Do you get what I'm saying to you? If you said in the beginning that it was emotionally and physically abusive, but you tell us that you're the only that he never hit you, then who was doing the physicality? Then it would be her by deduction. From what I'm hearing, right? It would be her from that deduction. So there's a pattern of behavior to Keke right now. Okay? There seems to be a pattern of behavior. Does that mean that she didn't get abused in a relationship with Darius? No. But it seems to be there's a pattern of behavior because, and maybe I need to get the full audio. Okay? Maybe I need to get the full audio of that scenario with Amon Wiggins where he plays it. Maybe I need to get the full audio because obviously, of course, it cuts. But when she talks in the beginning, she said, when I play that clip, when she said with Darius, she said, you were verbal, I was verbal. But when it came to physicality, she was the only one there. Okay? I know people ain't gonna like it. I'm just trying to present what we're hearing, right? And I want to give grace to Keke too, because I'm also hearing a background. The same I want to give Darius grace as well, because it is two people who are young and are toxic, it seems, right? So that's why the situation with the parents is the way it is, you know?
Entire family. My dad always drank. He had 9 brothers who drank to celebrate birthdays, baptisms, funerals, and other family events. They came together and drank as a tradition. But when we moved to California, there became levels to his drinking.
Cool. So her dad, and I'll play a bit more of the clip. Her dad is a drinker, but he's periodic with it, right? So he's not like everyday drunk, right? He is your periodic type of drinker, and when he does, that is where you have the bigger issue, because it's the inconsistency of his behavior that leaves you in limbo when you're in a home like that, right? That inconsistency is very painful to be in, because you may not know what day it's going to change. That can leave you in a space of, that's why she got anxiety, because you never know what's going to happen. That door clicks and you're on high alert, and then you are on oftentimes hypervigilance, because you know that your parent coming home today, they could be drinking and being a mad thing.
But sometimes the mood swings caused by not binging created eggshells to walk on. I don't think it's possible to explain how traumatic these dynamic shifts in our family were after moving to California, but I believe they were for all of us.
So you're hearing that too, the instability of the home, the mood swings of the dad, and how with the mood swings of the dad, that can create an instability in the home and make it feel just, and make it feel eerie, because now you're not drinking, your mood is different. And so it's like almost like the drink is a coping mechanism for the up and down swings of the mood that's happening, right? I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's because of work or whatever. We don't know 100% what it is that was triggering him. I think that is giving us a bit more better understanding of what background she's coming from, as to why it would have been acceptable to stay in a relationship with someone like Darius. You know what I mean? When you find out his whole family is abusive, you know what I mean? You find out that Darius' whole family is abusive, and you didn't think it's because you get comfortable. You find a familiar energy. Let's continue.
What I do know is my father loves me. But whenever you are stressed, adding any kind of chemical influence can have an adverse effect. My mother never drank, but she dealt with anxiety all her life. My mother did not always have help from anyone when.
And why wouldn't your mom have anxiety? If every single time the mom is actually the mom is fearing what would happen to the kids. The mom has become the blanket safety for the kids now, because she now needs to stand between the dad and you. And that can make it very difficult, because what she wants to do is protect you by putting herself as the punching bag. Not necessarily that she was punched, but as the punching bag in terms of his mood swings and his energy and his shifting, his drinking. She's there trying to protect you. And what happens is you develop anxiety over time, because you're not stable. The mom's not stable because she's in an unstable position. The husband who's meant to lead, who's meant to be the protector, the provider, the person who puts his arm around his family, is also the same one that can actually be the one who can hurt them, right? Whether that's emotionally, mentally, spiritually, sexually, financially, physically, right? And so what you'll realize in this instance is now the mom has to play this role where anxiety is going to be number one because she doesn't know what she's going to get from day to day.
Not at all how she described. It went from talking to her panicking to her being completely emotionless and dismissive. I was so confused, and it was starting to feel all too familiar.
There we go. Mum being dismissive and emotionless. That is what she suffered for a long time. And the reason why, probably because the mothers had to be switched off trying to attend to the father. And probably maybe she also came from an abusive home too. We don't know. But what we do know is that the mother probably in order to deal with the father and his drinking and the loss of her partner, because drinking like that and the person changing, that's a loss of your partner, right? Okay, that's the loss of your partner. In that instance, what can end up happening is that the mother then becomes emotionless, as she said, and then becomes numb because she's trying to medicate for the fact, or try to, kind of have her own coping mechanisms to deal with the reality that the partner she once had may not be the partner anymore, right? He's not the same guy anymore. And in order to keep the relationship going and the marriage going, and to keep the coverage and the protection going, she's got to become emotionless, right? And in some sense, they sometimes even join the abuser abusing you, or at least their behavior.
I felt again the dismissiveness I felt as a child, the manipulation of my words. I remembered my helplessness.
Now imagine, remember I told you about the expression? Okay, all right. Remember I told you about the expression. The expression I said about when people nullify your expression, what's happening here? The very thing that she's talking about is that when she tried to express, okay, when you try to express your feelings, okay, all right, when you try to express your feelings, what happens is you are shut down. And that's the very same thing I said about there. That's where her anger is. That's why there's abuse coming from her hands as well, right? Now, I'm sure the same thing with Darius when it comes to his mother and him not being able to attune with his mother too. He's also got abusive vibes too. These two found each other for the fact that there's familiarity in both of them. They're both familiar. They're both familiar with the energy they both carry. All right. Someone said, is it possible to have mother to generalize anxiety disorder in scenario if she's under constant attack? Potentially. I wouldn't be, it's not my place to say. I don't have much of that in there, but potentially, that could be something that's in there too. I'm not going to say 100%, but potentially it could be there. Let's see.
Silence me with her efforts to embarrass me.
Mm-hmm.
She was worried that I was going to wake my siblings and dad. Just then, they did start to wake to the commotion. I tried to speak, but she jumped on my words, trying to paint this picture that I was wanting trouble for my family.
And maybe the mom is thinking to herself, I don't want you to rock the boat. I've just got him stable. Don't come and rock the boat. The mom is probably thinking to herself, you know what? Don't do anything that's going to cause him to trip. Don't do anything that's going to cause him to go wild. And I just started to realize the importance of a man and a husband being emotionally regulated. If any man is listening to this and you're thinking about Keke Palmer being a madman, I hear it. But I want you to understand something. If you're listening to this, I want you to take these words to heart, right? As a man, you have to regulate yourself because you are the leader of your home. And because you're physically stronger too, it's an even more scarier proposition that the person who's meant to be a protector turns to be your enemy. It's a very difficult position. I need you to understand. You need to be regulated in your expression, in your understanding, and your processing. If you know you need therapy, go and get therapy because you're going to cause generational trauma that trickles down into not only your children, but your children's children because the children are dealing with your particular madness. You know what I'm saying to you? Right? Because what we're seeing right now is that the father being incapable of being able to lead effectively because of his alcoholisms, the mom is probably responding to his alcoholisms. And now we've got Keke coming into a situation where actually now the beef is not with the dad, it's now with the mom. Right? The beef is now with the mom. Do you see what's happened here? Now the beef is now with the mum because in reality, she's not dealing with the dad anymore. She's dealing with the mum who's trying to, I don't want to trigger things. I don't want things to go off the rails. So I want to keep it calm because if he rises, we all lose.
I was trying not to personalize, and to see the situation for what it was. But as she said, "Go ahead and say your attack on the family," it was as if I, too, was not a member of the family. Again, I was gutted.
Look at that. The mum has now turned it on her and said, listen, you're about to attack the family, you know? And now this makes sense, right? Because if the mum has, and of course I'm jumping ahead slightly because I know what's going to be said after. The mum is now saying that, you know what, you're going to attack the family. And in reality, what's really happening here is that she's going to feel like she's now alienated from the family. This is also contributing towards her anger and also contributing towards her feeling like she's not a part of something. So what happens? You try to create your own family. Can I be honest with you? So, and ladies, this is for you specifically, okay? Some women will push to have children because they were alienated or hurt or disparaged or pushed aside from their immediate family, that they try to make their children their family. And I'm not saying children are not your family, but what I mean in the sense of you almost try so much that I want a kid so bad, but really and truly what it is that you're looking to change history rather than it actually being, I want children. I'm not saying you don't want children. I want to make it very, very clear. Listen to what I've got to say. Okay. All right. I'm not saying that Keke or anybody other woman doesn't want to have children. What I'm saying is sometimes the motivation to want to have children, especially in less than ideal situations, isn't about the love of having children. Sometimes it's your trauma and you wanting to revise history. And because you want a part of your family, trying to recreate a family, like this will be now my history. This will now be me. I will do things differently. And it's your motivating factor. And sometimes you end up just repeating the cycle because you actually haven't learned and you actually haven't changed what was within you. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's no, your mom doesn't believe you almost now. And now that will make sense, right? Because you're kind of saying that because your mom don't really believe, almost like your mom doesn't believe you in a sense. But now that makes sense why the mother went so hard. If you missed it before, you're not going to miss it again. Right? And I'll play the clip so you understand what I'm saying. The mum understands, whoa, I missed it the first time. I won't miss it again. You know what I'm saying to you? I missed it the first time. I won't miss it again.
My mother was regretting it all. The moment she said it, the moment I repeated it, and the moment my family heard it. She didn't mean that. She's human. The doors were locked, and my mother wouldn't let me leave.
She didn't mean that, like she didn't mean the Usher thing. Your mom says a lot of things that she don't mean at the time, right? When she's angry or when she's scared or when she's stressed, your mom will be saying some stuff when she's in that place. Your mom got the abusive tongue. Gotta be honest with you, right? Same as Darius. Both Darius and their moms, both a little bit abusive out here. Their tongues are very, 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 Darius' mom being an enabler and Keke's mom being an aggressor with her tongue, you know?
Doing some true Jackson VP years when I would have violent thoughts. I couldn't understand where they were coming from, but in this moment, I'd realized it was the unreleased emotion trying to express itself in my thoughts. This rage I was expressing was necessary. Just as sadness was a necessary emotion.
Repeating itself. And this is why I was saying about the Keke situation, that it goes deeper than just someone hit somebody. It's cycles of behavior that need to be killed today. All right? They both need... What the judge should do is that they are mandatory, both of them. They should be mandatory at least 15 sessions in counseling. They need to be going for an hour. They need to do 15 hours at least of counseling before they can even consider talking about who gets custody. You know what I mean? Or whatever the judgment. Because this will continue after they get the custodial sentence anyway. It will continue because it's deep-rooted, wounded behavior. Right? So yes, the mother too suffered too because her mother was teaching her how to be strong and not consider her own emotions. No wonder why she became emotional so quickly when it came to her husband. Thinking, and I'll end it on the voice note again so you guys can play it and be out.
Like, I'm not gonna sit, yeah, you said nasty things to me. I didn't need to say them back. That's my bad. Wiggins. It's my bad to say nasty things to you. Even if you did say nasty things to me. It's my bad to put my hands on you. Even though you did whatever that you did that made me feel that way. Like, I'm going to take responsibility.
So I'll wait to see what the other audio, you guys said there's more to that audio. We'll wait to see what happens and see what's more to be said. But like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification uploads. We appreciate y'all. Stay locked, stay loaded. We'll see you again soon. Appreciate y'all.